Right, I am near a back doorway. The lounge door is just there. I know this isn't exactly part of the lounge, but I'm going to include it so I can have a bit of sort of sit down time, but still able to do something. I've sitting on one of my big cushions actually on the floor at the moment. Yeah, I do have to for getting up and down, but anyway, I wasn't going to do this yet, but I think I'm going to include it along with my lounge, because I did say I have got to put all these books away. I've got a few DVDs that obviously will go separate, they'll go back on the shelf, but I've got these books to put away at this bin. So the bin came out of the lounge, which is the Christmas books, to go back in this bookcase. Now, I did say a while back that I don't think there's going to be many books I'm going to be able to get rid of. I did have a massive clear out a couple of years ago, and last year I did get rid of some books. But looking at the books at the moment, I don't know if this is a lot, and I will show you an overview of it as well. I don't know whether you would count this as a lot of books or not, but some of them are actually things that I refer back to, and I may pick out a few that I've had quite a few years and will not get rid of. Now, the reason I got rid of so many books a couple of years ago is because I had my first Kindle, and hubby would rather me got rid of all the books, but I do sometimes, and I've said this before and I think people will agree to me, sometimes I do like to pick up an actual book, mostly things like crafting books, or things that are self-help and stress relieving, or Pilates or something like that, because they've got colour pictures and everything, and I just sometimes love to pick up a book. I don't mind if it's just a reading book, use my Kindle. And yes, I've got a few that I've kept hold of now quite a few years, but I have read them a couple of times and I know that I'll go back to them eventually. So I'm sure there's a lot of book lovers out there that love reading and everything, and I'm going to see what I can do. I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to film. I might fast forward it and put it to music, I don't know, because it may seem boring, but what I'm going to do is I'm hoping to pull each book out, just flick through it or read the back, and I bet most of it will go back. But down the bottom here I have got my husband's pocket watch folders. They can't be removed. We've got CVs down here as well, and things like dictionary. You see, a lot of this still refers back to before things like YouTube, and even before I started getting into YouTube, before I actually had my own channel. For a couple of years, I would say, I was watching it. So some of these books actually stem back before all that sort of took off. And you do have your favourites, but again, I'm going to check through and let's get on. Right. Yes, I know it all went back. I had a feeling this segment always stays about the same, but I've taken it out, quickly looked at it, reviewed it, and put it back. Now, this is to do with, there's quite a few things that actually do with when I was in care, and I've kept it. I like my MVQ3. I have got my books here, and yes, I suppose I could get rid of them, you know, for care. And these folders here are pocket watch folders for the information for my husband's pocket watch collection. This is all paperwork when I was made redundant, and to do with Scope, who I worked for. And then I've got end of life that I did, and say I've got certificates understanding the care and management of diabetes. I did do a course on diabetes, although a lot of the information already knew, but it was nice going through it. It could be, although I did find it very scary, because obviously it went into quite a length and depth on diabetes, which can be really scary. But yeah, I did an extra course. I did end of life as well, through the firm I was working for, the charity. And then this one is actually paperwork from when husband has been made redundant in the past. It's got his CVs and everything. I know a lot of it could actually got rid of, because you can get so much off the internet now, but it's just something, while I got room to store it, which is always the bottom one, I've stored it. I wouldn't necessarily call it laziness, but it's just information. Now, give it a couple more years, and whether I go back into care or not, the only thing is hubby doesn't want me doing shift work, and I don't really want to work weekends. I know this is probably nasty for people who are in care and have to work, but we're in a stage in our lives now that we do want to spend more time together, and it's finding a job or something that I want to enjoy doing, if that makes sense, because it did get very stressful at work, especially towards the end. It had for a couple of years before I was made redundant, but care work can be very stressful. But let's go away from that. Yes, so a lot of that is just general, what should I call it, information and certificates, CVs, that sort of thing. Yes, I did talk about some of this, taking up and possibly putting in one of our cabinets upstairs, and I'm sure I said that last January and haven't done it. But for the time being, I've just left that there. So I'm going to go on to this next segment, pull it all out, dust the shelf, and yeah, may all go back. As I said, I had a really good sort out in the bookcase a couple of years ago. Yeah, I know. Probably think it's a waste of time, but as I said, it's nice to, if you've got the time, to review places in your home like I'm doing. And I have allowed myself quite a bit of time actually to do this, because I'll probably get distracted anyway looking through the books, but I'm trying not to go down that route. Um, some things I have now paused and have got in my mind, and I will jot them down in my book. Um, Certain ones I'm debating whether to actually get rid of. First of all, not much. I've actually got the site map, which is 2017-18. I know it got missed. For camping and caravan, because I found the 2019 to 20, and this is just small paperwork to do with camping and caravan, just bus timetable, Burton's catalogue for suits when they were ordering their suits through Burton's, and that book has got to be returned to a friend. So not much out of that shelf, but at least it is something. Now, how I've looked at it, now this is how I've categorised it, and in my mind's eye, I know there's certain ones that I really ought to look at. Question mark is this one. It's finger food and sandwiches, 34 recipes, and it's all to do with sandwiches. Now, I'm not sure where this came from, whether I got it possibly from the charity shop, I can't really remember, but it's got some, I quickly had a look, and it's got some lovely different sandwiches. And because I must admit, one of my targets for the last couple of years is to try and be a bit more adventurous for the guys packing up. And it starts off like everything. I'm not calling them New Year's resolutions, I call them goals. To actually, make more of an effort. It starts off okay and then it dwindles out. But there is certain things that the guys like my son prefers cooked meat, but my husband prefers cheese. Very often he'll have cheese and tomato or cheese and Branston. So yeah, I really need to review that. And I know my son likes wraps, but then again I have to take into consideration you know how they move about with the pattern lunch boxes. Are they going to be careful? Because it's no good making a nice sandwich and putting it in a box and then I don't know, guys. So yeah, so this is a question mark. It might be one of those things that, and I've done this and I've said this before, I will take it to the caravan possibly, if not in the next couple of months. We will be starting caravan again in about March, and go through it. That's when I tend to review my books, actually, funny enough. And I've said this before, I tend to take one or two books along with my Kindle, because that's the time when I do have more relaxing time, sit down, peaceful, especially in the nice weather, sit outside and read. So that's that. In this category, I've got my address book. I have got, this one is a birthday and occasion book, and this one is actually the home journal, so I'll keep those in there. As you might have seen, I have been given another one, but I haven't started it, and I'm debating whether to transfer it or I might be giving this to a relative. It is Winnie the Pooh, and it's not been started, but I've got a feeling I know who I'm going to give this to, so that's a possibility that will be going. I do have a lot of, do I call them self-help books, got reflexology here, massage, and back here I've got Pilates, yoga, and things like that. And here I have got 6-minute morning thighs and hips and 6 minutes toning. So those sort of things. Obviously, being New Year, you need that kickstart. My body is not in the brilliant stage at the moment with my aches and pains, and I'm being careful, but I'm still trying to move around, but I'm not doing major exercise at the moment to lose weight until I've got the all clear or start easing up with the pains. So But if I'm doing things like this, I'm still sort of reaching, moving, doing my bum walks. Yeah, they have to laugh at that. And things like that. Do you know what I mean? It's still movement. That's better than, even if I'm in pain, just sitting down. I have to be in really chronic pain not to do this. Some of these, like this one, I paid a lot for, and it was supposed to go with my son. When my son was, both my sons were teenagers, I bought this book and I paid quite a bit for it. I paid full price. As you know, I don't like paying full price for things. And it's Sam Stern's Cooking Up a Storm, the teen survival cookbook. And it is really good, and it does actually give you some basic tips and meals. So that's probably one reason why I've you know, sort of kept it, and how to prepare meat, what you should and shouldn't do, obviously for contamination and everything like that, and different ways of doing eggs. So that is a question mark. We have got the big juice book. Now, did I pay for this one separate? I'm sure I paid this one separate. Yeah, I did, by the looks of it. And this is making all the different smoothies. But I've kept it. Another question mark. Yes, not sure about that one. Like I said, I might have said this last year and I've still kept hold of them. But it's getting to the stage now, it is full, so maybe I ought to get rid of a couple of, at least a few books if I can. Now these are the ones that I regularly refer to, some of these. I've got, and I've brought these up in Halloween, I've got the Grub and Disgusting dishes, and some of these are really old. And I've got the Spooky Fun. Again, you can get a lot of this over off the internet. I have kept this leaflet. I was thinking about getting rid of it, but this is when we went to Cadbury World, and it's got the history and everything. So I've kept hold of that. I have shown you the Ultimate Christmas book. This is one I've got a question mark on. And if you want to comment, please do so. The Feng Shui. I remember watching a series on Feng Shui. Dare I say, hubby thinks is more to the line, it's a lot of cobswallop. I'm sorry. And I think it's one of those things, if you believe in it, I think, you know, it works. I don't know if anybody else has got any feelings on feng shui. I don't want to start any arguments, and I don't want to insult anybody, but I have kept it. And I've got a little like compass thing there, and I think I had another book somewhere. Yeah, it's up here, Feng Shui. You know, I don't know if there is anything into it, but saying that, one of the things I did find, going off topic, is I suffered, maybe it's in the mind, a lot of headaches and migraines, and touch wood, I still get muggy heads, but dare I say, and I'm probably tempting fate now, not so much. About, would I say about 4 years ago now, maybe 5, we actually, because we put it off, we actually cleared our loft. We don't have a basement, but we do have a loft. And stuff was up there right from, like, we still had the carrying cart and clothes that we used to stuff clothes up there that we were holding on to because when I was pregnant, you know, come back to it, lose weight, but then of course clothes go out of fashion, you know, anything and everything tended at one stage got you know, stuffed up the loft. We had a massive sort out, and we got rid of 2 car full loads with the seats down. Unbelievable. Quite a lot went to charity. I was really strict. There's only like cases up there and all the decor, which, yeah, I'm starting to try and thin down, as you probably heard me say a number of times. I do have decor pieces for the different seasons. And I felt, and whether it's because it just released something, because I got rid of stuff, the headaches did get a lot better, and I think it was just maybe it was, you know, in my head, that you got rid of all that stuff and you just feel like that. I don't know if anybody else is like that. There might be that little, as I think Crafty Batty said on another comment on one of mine on something totally different, it's a good thing. You've got the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. On a lot of things. Do I keep it? Do I get rid of it? Do you know what I mean? And, you know, sometimes you try and talk yourself out of things. And then there's regret. Now, this is one thing I've tried not to do, be regretful. You know, if I've got rid of something, think, oh yeah, I've had that 5 or 6 years and didn't use it. But a lot of this time on YouTube, they've said, how much does it cost to replace that item? If you stored it for 5 or 6 years and it's something poxy, you know, a little bit of money or something, is it worth trying to, as I try, borrow? You know, put feelers out for family and friends, or I need to borrow that. I know my son's been doing it a lot with a carpet cleaner and a steam cleaner and everything, and things like that. And that's the sort of thing, you know, you could consider, rather than sort of keeping everything. And we did have a massive sort out, and to my knowledge, I've had no regrets. And for a time, yes, I did go off didn't have the headaches, and I think it was just freeing the mind. And feng shui said something about basements and you know, loft, attic space. If it's cluttered, you get a cluttered mind, and it can cause headaches. I think it's just possibly, if you read between the lines, it's relieving stuff, and it just clears you, and you just got that, you know, bit of air, if that makes sense. I'm hoping waffling on a bit, but I'm hoping you can understand what I'm saying. But anyway, feng shui, one of the books. I think what I'm going to do is give myself, I've got to say 6 months, I think, for a few of these books, because I take them to the caravan, and then I will review each book. I'll try and keep you posted anyway, but because I'm doing a lot of clearing out, I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to review it, unless it's an evening where they're, you know, with the guys watching TV, although it depends on how in-depth the book is, because if it's just like a picture book, you get in some inspiration, it's not a problem. But if it's something I'm reading, I like to be quiet. I know some people don't mind background noise. I like to be quiet when I'm reading, so that's that. This one is, dare I say, about 35 years old, and I just love this book. A lot of it, again, looking at it, I could have got rid of this one. I remember doing this one. This is why it's that old look. I remember doing this in different forms with dried flowers and this sort of thing. And I know you can get an awful lot of this off of YouTube. It also does, because I used to do a lot of dinner parties, I must admit. And it shows you the how to do your different napkins, which again, and themes on dinner parties or any sort of party. I mean, something basic like that, you know, it's got a nice plate with some like marbles and that, glass, and your paste setting. So as I say, it's things like that. It's a book I tend to get out an awful lot. It's that bad, look, my pages are falling out. But it's one book that I keep going back to, and I think if you go back to a book and you're looking at it or reading it, I think it's worth keeping. So I say, it must be about 35 years old. My eldest son from the charity shop, my daughter-in-law, did actually buy me this. It was 50p, and it's paper folding, and I've kept hold of this because I was going to do a bit more of this in craft group. So I lost my train of thought, but yeah, that was something I kept. I think he bought it me about summer last year. So it's something, again, you probably can actually get it on YouTube. But my idea is that's something I can take to my craft group, and they can look at it, because some of my ladies, I've got a few gents as well, got some ladies a little bit older than myself, that don't have the internet, don't have YouTube or Pinterest or anything like that, or not into it. So old school like me, like a book, so that they can look at it. So that's why I've kept hold of that book. This one I opened up, I'm going to laugh at this one. This is American Magazine, and yeah, I've got it in my plastic container, and I love this one. And I think what I might do is to show you it maybe at length at another time, but it's called Small Room Decorating, and this is 2000. We was in Florida, and that's when I bought this magazine, and I think it was from Kmart or Walmart. That's how far back it was. Didn't know about Target. I don't know how long Target's been going, but I don't remember seeing Target in Florida at the time. But it's American Small Homes, and this is something else that I tend to look at quite a bit. And it's that bad. Look, this is what I mean. Look, pages are coming out, and you know, it's just something that I really do like. And I think what I might do is show you a close-up of it at some other point. And again, the styles may have changed quite a bit, but it's like this, what you call it, lap pool. We've got like a lap pool going around their home. And it's just something I really do like going through. But yeah, it's sad, but I don't keep a lot of magazines, and I don't buy them except for the TV Guide at Christmas, and a lot of, unless I'm actually giving them through craft group or something, or someone's passed things on, don't tend to buy magazines. So, but that was one, again, before I was made redundant, and before I refuse to buy any more magazines unless it's something I'm really interested in. But I haven't bought a magazine now, again, except for the TV Guide, for about 4 or 5 years. So that is just something I've kept. And talking about magazines, these are ones I was given, and I keep referring back to them, and they're like crafting magazines. So that one has actually got a cross-stitch heart there, which, reviewing it now, would be great for Valentine's Day. I've got homemade cards and gifts to make and share. I've got another crafting one here, and then this one, I'm not sure how much I paid for it. I think I may have bought it from The Works. Maybe The Works? Possibly. And it just shows you basic cards. And that's the sort of thing I tend to purchase more than magazines, especially if we're away any length of time. And I think I only paid like £2 for it. So, yeah. So, again, I'm probably going on too long, but feel free to fast forward. But it just gives you an opportunity to review what you've got. So that's 2 shelves, and yeah, I know I haven't gotten rid of much, but again, I'm reviewing it. So I'm going to go to my 3rd shelf, and yes, I should have started from the top. I'm doing it reverse bottom just because I needed to sit down, but I'm still doing something. And funny enough, I haven't got YouTube on. No, I've thought, no, I'll put YouTube separate. If I'm doing a major tidy up, I tend to have it on in the background, especially if it's something about organising, cleaning, or anything like that, decluttering. It just gives you that bit of burst of motivation. So I'm going to pull this lot out and just see what I have. yeah, I've tweaked it a bit. I have pulled out 2 books, which are these. I did take the jacket off of this one because they go back in the lounge like that, and I had them as decor pieces. So they're books I wanted to keep. This is The Rescue by Nicholas Sparks, and I love this book. But I took the dust jacket off because, as I say, those 2, I did count, and I think I counted 9 books I've got on my shelves in the lounge, which are Christmas books, like these sort of love novel type things. So I need to double check those to see the backs of them, or whether I've read them, or whether I want to keep them. So I put those separately because they're going in the lounge, but most of my books are in here except for about the 9 that are in the lounge, which, as I say, I use them as like props, decor pieces, do you know what I mean, that I've seen on YouTube again, as you've probably seen in my bookcase, which is actually, I don't call it a bookcase, I call it shelves, because it mostly has decor pieces on. But I have got 3 more Christmas books here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my Christmas books together, and I'm just going to go through them to, you know, when I got them all together, to see. Right, what I've redone is I have tried to categorise them. Normally I have them all in height, but I thought I'd categorise them together, so I've brought some more down. So it's like Free Yourself from Stress, Essential Oils. I've got 2 books, so I've put them along with like the yoga ones and things that are doing with exercise. I've got the Kitchen Gym book here. Again, a lot of it you can get off the internet now, but I've kept them. And one thing I will say, and I don't know whether this is weird or not, is I do have a couple of dictionaries. Again, it's old school. Like I've got the mini dictionary here. Yeah, I know it's just as easy to go on your phone or something, but sometimes, you know, whether it's long-winded, I don't know. And I still do write letters, so sometimes I do, you know, get my dictionary out. It's just on that odd occasion, I don't know if you've had this, where you're trying to think, how does this word start, you know, to start to spell it, and your mind goes a blank, and you're thinking, and obviously some sounds are quite weird, and it's trying to remember what that word starts with. Well, you know the first letter obviously, but sometimes it's getting those first few letters to look it up. Sometimes that's when I tend to go on my phone or something, and if I can't find it in the dictionary and I can't think how it's spelled at all, then sometimes you might have to put in what you think and just hope for the best that it's going to come up. Anyway, that's going off topic again. So I've got those, and again, I don't know whether I should really get rid of them. I've got the yellow pages. Again, you can get everything off the internet, can't you? But I've just kept some. So I brought a few down, and I got all like my little, I haven't got many cookbooks, so they're there. So you've got it all categorised, and then here I've put all my Christmas books here that are out of the basket, and I left a couple in here already, so that's why I've moved my big one up. Then I've got like 2 card making books. I've put those together, and crafting. This is a really good book. This is another one I had when before I got married, so it's 30 plus years old, which is gift wrapping. I'll show you that another time. Then this book I got really reasonable. It was only £3. It was another one I bought on holiday when I was in the caravan, and it's the Crafty Minx at Home. That's a really good book. That was just a random one, which is the 50 and 60s, which I'm reading through. That's the Mary Poppins book I got when I had my DVD from Tesco's. Now, this is The Perfect Housewife, Anthea Turner, and I've got all her series as well. And I do like watching them. I know it, I understand later it She had an amazing house. She did have a housekeeper, although she said she did a lot of things herself, and I know they had a butler. So I don't know what the situation is now because we're going back a fair few years, but that was the book, and this was something I did actually pay full price. It was £14 or thereabouts. Then you got these. You must remember Kim and Aggie. I got Too Posh for Wash, and I've got How Clean Is Your House, if anybody remembers seeing the series. So I kept those. This is a question mark one. 100 Ways for Every Girl to Look and Feel Fantastic. This is another one I shall go through about hair, makeup and everything and make a decision on. Book I also bought on holiday from the works. I'm not sure. Yeah, very often I put the price in there. So this is another £3 book. Again, it was cheaper than buying a magazine. And some of the nails are really lovely. I don't know whether you can see that. Look at that. That's nice. So, this is a book I often pick up. Might not do it. Look at that. But it's one that I like picking up and reading. Then I tend to go for a plain nail varnish or something. Yeah, I have not had a nail polish on now since about the 21st of December when I hurt my hand. And I had Christmas nails to put on and everything, and now I didn't do it. But anyway, that's what I've kept. And then I've just, instead of having them down here, I've put them up here at the moment. As I said, that one on this shelf, which is like the address book and my birthday book. Right, now I'm going to have to alter the camera. I'm probably going to have to stand up now for the next one, which a lot of them are going into. There's a few Christmas ones. There's a set there that I will not be getting rid of. I refer and I go back to them quite a few times, so I'm not going to get rid of those. But that might be a bit time consuming because some of the ones that I haven't picked up for a while may have read before and kept them. But some, let's see if I can get rid of them. Oh, I did actually pull out 2 books. I was really good. I nearly forgot out that shelf. Now that's what I call music book. And I did like this because we did actually collect most of them, not the more recent ones. And it does actually give you all the songs and everything. And I kept this specifically because I've got some of the discs. But sometimes when I play them in the car, I think, oh, I'll have to remember that. I used to like to know what disc it was on if I wanted to replay it. But then again, there's something else, CDs. I have got a whole shelf full of CDs. Another job that didn't actually get completed last year. I did get rid of a few. But yeah, that's something else that I've got to get round to. So getting rid of that one. And this is a cookbook I bought. It looks like it's never actually been read. And I gave myself 3 or 4 months, and that was about 6 months ago. And I haven't picked it up. And I'm just going to get rid of it. And as I said, I was trying to, again, like packing up, try and think of, different things to cook. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So I've got a little bit of space here. So tweaking it, but as I say, I have got a couple of books in the lounge that I need to have a look at. So I'm going to move up to I've got the last shelf to do and right on the top. Right, as you could see, I brought a pile of books back from the lounge, and in a moment I am actually going to pause this because I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee. I'm going to sit in the lounge, and I am actually going to go and just read the back of these books and, dare I say, try and get rid of a couple. I'm trying to be positive about this. A lot of these are the Christmas ones, and I do actually read them, but what happens is I may read a couple a year, then another year I might read a couple more, if you understand. And whether it is actually worth it, I don't know. Or whether to, you know, consider, I don't know whether these ones I can get on my Kindle or not. Do you know what I mean? But also, might be sad, but they do make a nice decor piece at Christmas in my on my shelves. So yeah, I'm going to I think go and get coffee, sit in the lounge, go through these and read the backs. I know for a fact there's quite a few I have actually already read, and I know the idea is once you've read it, get rid of it. Fair enough. Right, I'm just going to tilt you up again. And there is certain books, these that I've mentioned, I've got a complete set of them, and I do read them, and I've read them a few times, but and I guess it's that investment as well of money. It's one of the things that I have spent quite a bit on. Mainly this started before I had my Kindle, although I have got a couple of them on my Kindle, and a couple of books, Christmas books at the back there, like the hardback ones that I have read again. I know I'm going to refer back to those. And yeah, it's a bit of a cheat because I did have a double layer there of books. That's why I want to go through these. So again, I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to go and sit down and go through these books. Right, I've gone through all the romance books and everything, and I've pulled out a few which I'll show you in the pile that's going today. I'm just going to do the top shelf, and then I'll explain what I've got rid of. So I'm just going to take these down. These I will not be getting rid of. These I actually read frequently. I'm going to give it a quick dust on the top there. Yeah, do excuse, I haven't put any of my canvases up either, so that will be a job when I've sort of got pieces away, and then I can go round and put some decor back on the walls and out. Right, so I've gone through, I pulled all these out, not those because I kept all that lot down there, but all the top shelf I pulled out, and obviously the books from the shelves in the lounge, and I read the backs, obviously the abbreviation of what the story's about. Some I've read and I thought, no, I'm not going to read them again, decided, but others I have read but I want to read them again. Yeah, Meals and Boons. Haven't read them for a while. I did read one before Christmas, so I know. So a lot of these, well actually all these I could say I've read before, but I've kept them, and I tend to keep going back to them. The only trouble is with a lot of these, they're small print. That's why I like my Kindle. And as I said, this lot that I've collected, I have read them, but again, I want to keep them. And on the top here, I've got Real Life Organising. That's by Clutterbug. I have a couple by Melissa Michaels that I like. and I've got 1 minute on Clutter Your Mind, 10-minute organising, and I say these are all before I started watching YouTube and before I did YouTube as well. So the status of these, I mean, that one you can tell how bad it is. But some of them I keep referring back to. And what I might do is actually include some of them in pieces when I'm decluttering and organising, you know, just little pieces that you can take into consideration while you're organising and getting rid of your stuff. I've also got here just the right words. A friend of mine gave me this, and it gives you different occasions to write in your cards, so I'm always using that one. And this one, compassion, is just little bits and pieces in here. I got this one, I believe, from the charity shop. I'm sure I did. And it's like live, experience and learn, and it's got different quotes in this book. Send a card or a gift to someone who is ill. Today I show compassion by helping a friend in need, and things like that. So yeah, I keep that one. That's why they're at the top, because they're the frequently ones that I use. So I have put a few down here, so I'm going to take you off the stand and just show you. These few here, so I got rid of quite a few Christmas books. I've put them here because I'm going to have that gap, because I tend to have these, or some, in the lounge turned around so you just see that side of them. So I might put those back in the lounge on the shelf, so they're all Christmas novels. Just to go along with my decor, just to break up the shelves. I haven't actually got that far. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow, being Tuesday, and that is the bookcase. So it's been a time consuming. I've been on this a couple of hours actually, but I'm glad I've gone through it. As I said, it was like a relaxing time rather than watch a movie or actually sit down and read a book. I've gone through it all, so I'm going to have that much spare. And if I take those into the other shelves, but as I said, I'm quite happy with what I've done, even though it's been time consuming. And in the lounge on the floor, I have my pile of pieces that I am getting rid of, which I'm going to share next. So I'm coming up to concluding day 3 of the pieces that I am getting rid of today. As I say, this is 7 items for 7 days to leave your home. So both me and hubby have got new trainers now, and they've been bedded in. So these are going. His is really old and split. Mine have got holes in because I tend to wiggle my big toes. But what I will do is I will actually take out the laces, because there's nothing wrong with these laces. That's his slip socks. He had some new ones for Christmas because these have got holes in. I'm taking these to my community centre, to the craft group, and put in the Christmas box, which I started last year, so that these can be used for some Christmas crafts this year. This, I didn't use this Halloween. I bought this after the previous, couple of years ago actually, I think now. And you light it and it burns and it runs out the eyes, but it's been sat in my decor cupboard for a while, so, and I didn't use it this Halloween, so I'm going to just get rid of that. Then so there's those 2 books, some paperwork, the TV magazine, and a Tesco magazine. And then I did manage to thin it down, not much, but I have got some books here that I'm actually leaving the home. So I'm really happy with what I've got. So I will sort of count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll count that as 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's like 17 items to leave our home. So I'm really happy with that. As I said, the bookcase has taken quite a bit of time, but I'm pleased that I got it done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.